What are the key details, then, of this deal? It's finally been signed.
Well, that's right. It is slightly different from the earlier versions because there were quite contentious negotiations that went on for weeks over the terms of this deal. And of course, we know that the original moment back in February when the Ukrainian president went to the White House to sign this deal, and things went very wrong in the minute with US President Donald Trump. So what this is about is future licenses for natural resource projects in Ukraine. So that's everything from oil and gas to critical minerals. Those are things that Donald Trump is very interested in, lithium, graphite, and so on. And the profits from those new licenses going into a fund that's jointly managed and where the US has first priority on the profits from those funds. And that's ostensibly to help reimburse the US for any future military assistance that they give to Ukraine. But it also does give the US quite a lot of control over potentially a big part of the Ukrainian economy, depending on how these projects evolve. And what it does, the US would say, is it binds it economically to Ukraine. So that's a strong level of support for Ukraine's future. It doesn't involve security guarantees, official security guarantees on the military side. So it doesn't mean the US would come to Ukraine's defense down the track potentially. And that's still a key point that's missing from all these conversations around a ceasefire, is what does the future military support for Ukraine look like?
Well, Ros, on that part then, to what extent should we see this as a consequential piece in terms of the move towards that ceasefire that President Trump obviously so dearly wants?
Well, it does keep the US involved, obviously, in Ukraine from an economic standpoint, which they, again, would argue is a sort of security guarantee. And it gives Donald Trump a win in a week and a time of 100 days when he really wants to be able to have deals announced and in his back pocket. But there's a lot we don't know yet about the pathway to a proper ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine. We can see that the rhetoric in a way from Russia is hardening. They're saying there's a lot of issues to be worked through. They've got some very big red lines themselves around territory and so on. And we seem to be quite away from getting to a formal understanding about a ceasefire. There's not a lot of progress either between Russia and the US on that front, or even the idea of Russia and Ukraine at some point sitting down together. So the idea of a rapid ceasefire seems to be off the table for now. This does give a step towards something, at least in the eyes of the US. It will keep Donald Trump engaged in the process, but we're still quite a long way here from a formal ceasefire.